Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's Morning English. This is Chase.
And this is Winter. Hello, everyone. 欢迎大家收听今天的早安英文。
Hello, welcome to Morning English. 早安英文呢是一个为大家免费提供英语教学的频道，每天都会更新。如果你想获得关于英语听说读写的内容，我们都会在这个频道更新。我们的目标是帮助全球的华人学好英语。如果你觉得还不错的话，记得给我们订阅哦。另外，点开小铃铛，这样的话就不会错过其他任何学习视频啦。对了，如果你想获取本节课的完整版笔记，在视频简介或者评论区领取哦。你也可以给这个视频点赞，点赞就相当于自动保存啦。
It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
It sure is a pleasure. In life, everything should be a pleasure, shouldn't it? Especially in learning a language. There should be no should-haves, no could-haves, no would-haves, no regrets at all.
Woohoo!
However, although not about learning languages, yet sometimes we do have a reason for regret, or at least to think about how the past could be different. So, for our topic today, we have three modals used when talking about the past. Should have, could have, and would have.
Yes, 我们今天呢就要来跟大家讲讲三个特别容易混淆的用法，一个是 should have， 一个是 could have， 还有一个是 would have.
Alright, so to begin today's lesson, I want to share a story out of a local newspaper. Would that be alright, Winter?
Yes, sure, why not? Chase 呢先来跟我们讲一段新闻是吗 Okay.
Alright, so there's this woman named Sammy. One night, Sammy and her husband were asleep in bed when they heard someone downstairs breaking into and burglarizing their home. Sammy's husband, he went downstairs and after listening carefully to their conversation for a few minutes, Sammy realized that the burglar had a gun.
Oh no, scary! 就是有一个人叫做 Sammy， 她和她的老公在家里在楼上休息，然后听到楼下有人闯入，有贼闯入，然后呢，这个 Sammy 的丈夫就下楼了 ，Sammy 就在楼上听他们两个的对话，这时候意识到闯入的这个贼竟然是带着枪的。So what happened next?
So this is the interesting part. Even though she had a mobile phone by the bed, however, she decided to go downstairs herself. She somehow quietly got up behind the burglar and then hit him in the head with a vase. He was knocked out and was later arrested.
What? But that's crazy! 就是 Sammy 她自己在楼上的时候，明明其实有手机，但是她没有报警，而是选择自己下楼，而且还用花瓶直接打了那个贼的头。Crazy.
Or very smart and brave, don't you think?No
way! 我觉得 Sammy 和她的丈夫就应该待在房间里，不要出去，锁好门。In my opinion, she and her husband should have just stayed and locked themselves in the bedroom.
Well, I'm sure you're not alone in thinking that. Anyway, happily that brings us to our first item. Should have and past participle.
对 should have 就是 should have, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, Winter just said she and her husband should have just stayed and locked themselves in the bedroom. Notice a few things about this. First, how the verbs stayed and locked are expressed in the past tense. Secondly, that this is a past situation that Winter is talking about. And last, Sammy actually, in fact, didn't stay in the room. Winter thinks that this was a mistake, and she recommends that Sammy did differently. Now, imagine Winter says, she shouldn't have tried to handle the burglar herself. It was extremely dangerous. Again, it's a past situation. Winter thinks it was a mistake. Sammy did try to do it, and Winter recommends that she had done something more safe.
Thanks, Chase. 所以呢 Chase 跟我们非常详细的解释了 should have done something. Should have done something. 这个用法呢就是表示我本来应该做某件事情，但是事实上呢是我没有这样做，但是我觉得本来应该这么做。By the way, that's certainly not what I sound like.
You're right. My apologies, Winter.
I'll help you out with the second one. In my own voice this time. Our next item is could have plus past participle. So, explaining my opinion, I might say she or her husband could have been killed.
Here, Winter is referring to the same past situation. She is expressing the thought that it was quite possible for the burglar to have seen Sammy and to have possibly used his weapon, his gun, on her husband or herself. Likewise, some of you may say she could have easily called the police. Again, we're talking about this past situation, and we're saying that Sammy had the ability. It was very possible and very easy for her to have done this thing.
Yeah, that's right. Could have done something. 就是本来很有可能，本来是有这个 ability， 有这个能力做这件事情的。当然，事实就是并没有这么去做。Could have done something. 本来有可能发生某事，但是没发生。
That brings us to our third item, would have plus the past participle.
For example, in her position, I would have first called the police and then gone to make sure my husband was safe.
I don't know. I think if I were her, if I was confident, I would have tried doing the same thing. If the police had come first, the burglar could have gotten scared and used his gun perhaps. In both these situations, when Winter says, I would have called the police first, or I say, I would have done what Sammy did, we're both talking about the same past situation, which we ourselves weren't in, and imagining what action we would do, that we would take, and what would have happened.
Right, I would have done something. 我应该会怎么样。那这个呢？这个句型啊，讨论的就是在过去的某个时间点发生的这件事情。我在说，如果是我会怎么做？如果是我经历了这个事情，我当时我可能会怎么做？ I would have done something.
So, to wrap up today's session, a few points for you. First, all of today's expressions, should have, could have, and would have, are not only used in this form, but also in their contracted form. So, should have, could have, would have, these are actually more common in casual spoken conversation. The full form, should have, could have, would have, are used more often in formal conversation and in writing.
Right, should have 就是 should have 的缩略式 could have 是 could have would have 是 would have.
And just to emphasize this, all of these again are used to talk about a past situation. We use should have to give a recommendation when we disagree with something, could have to talk about a possibility or perhaps the ability of somebody, and would have to talk about what you might have done or what might have happened in that situation if things were different.
Right, should have 就是本应该怎么做。那这个句型呢，可以用来给别人提一些建议，应该怎么做。Could have 是本来可能，就是描述一个可能性，就是描述过去的某件事情，它其实可能会这么来进展的，描述可能性。那最后这个 would have 呢，就是表示也许我会怎么做。就是假设这个 case 发生在我的身上，我会怎么做？某人可能会怎么做？
Thank you for the help, Winter. And that seems to be all for today.
Hello, welcome to Morning English. 早安英文呢是一个为大家免费提供英语教学的频道，每天都会更新。如果你想获得关于英语听说读写的内容，我们都会在这个频道更新。我们的目标是帮助全球的华人学好英语。如果你觉得还不错的话，记得给我们订阅哦。另外，点开小铃铛，这样的话就不会错过其他任何学习视频啦。对了，如果你想获取本节课的完整版笔记，在视频简介或者评论区领取哦。你也可以给这个视频点赞，点赞就相当于自动保存啦。
Thank you for listening to today's Morning English. This is Chase.
And this is Winter. Thanks a lot everyone for listening. Have a good day.